Welcome to Comics, Games, and Collectibles, your zen of geekism. We carry comics old and new, magazines, toys, games like Pokemon, Magic, D&D. Want Godzilla, Ultraman, Star Trek, Ninja Turtles, Funko Pops? You'll find it all here. Shop our Cosmic Sound Room and pick up a record or two. Enjoy our Comic Coffee Lounge with a cup of Sasquatch coffee or a delicious menu item while geeking out over a super cool movie on our big screen. Come by and say hello to Maui. Cosmic Comic, Games, and Collectibles. Superman loves us, and so will you.
Hi everyone, Daphne Lage here. Join Nita Lanning and me on the Ragin' to the Vlogs show, where we talk about everything, nothing, and all the bits in between. Looking for hour-long conversations about indie comics, social media marketing, and crowdfunding, with the occasional rant and story time? Head on over to the Ragin' 2 channel on YouTube, Mondays through Fridays at 11 a.m. Eastern to join in the chat.
Hit the button.
In the distant future, an ancient prophecy foretelling the end of the world begins to unfold, marked by the explosion of a dying star. Humanity has split into 3 new species of people, each believing that they are the next evolution, destined to survive the coming apocalypse. What does the future of humanity look like? The purist community of Eden names a stoic warrior called Wynn as their chosen one, tasked with collecting the remaining pieces of the prophecy from their rival societies, the Animalists and the Robotics. Wynn travels through the wasteland on an extraordinary journey to save the world. Along the way, he'll encounter memorable characters, astonishing creatures, and unravel the mystery of genetic superiority.
Hi everyone, my name's Arman Nasim and I'm the writer of Genetic Superiority.
Hi, I'm Jared Shinigo, writer and letterer of Genetic Superiority.
Hi, my name is Ryan Sini. I am the artist in Genetic Superiority.
Hi everyone, my name is Giorgio Rosasco and I am the colorist of Genetic Superiority.
Hi guys, this is Tiziana Menale. My role in Genetic Superiority is making flat for all the pages.
I hope you enjoy this comic.
Like, what comic books are you reading?
And as always, Kelly Sue, the comic books we are reading are the ones that you will find on Kickstarter and or Indiegogo, sometimes both. And we're going to be doing the same thing again tonight. We are going to visit the world of Kickstarter tonight. We're going, they're neighbors. We go back and forth. We get a cup of sugar from one. We borrow a pound of coffee from the other. We like them both. They're our friends. So, throw money at them. It doesn't matter who's selling the book. It's the creator that counts. And tonight, the creator we have with us is Arman Nasim and his book, Genetic Superiority. Arman, welcome to the show, sir.
Hello.
You're going to be more energetic than that, man. Come on. I've been fighting a kidney stone all day long, and I've got tape blisters on my fingers, and I'm more excited than that. Come on, man.
Hello, you guys. I'm very excited to be here. I'm ready to talk.
I'm messing with you, man. So how are things tonight, man? You got this. You got this thing launched. You got 11 days to go and a little bit to go to the goal. We'll show it here in a second.
Yeah. I'm happy. We broke. Day one was yesterday, and it broke my previous first campaign's day one record. So we broke through 500. And now I'm, interested to kind of see how much further it can go. And obviously, we're trying to go bigger and better each and every one of these. The plan of this is still to go, one a month, a new title every month or something like that, a new issue. So it's going well so far.
Yeah, so I thought it was running longer than that because I looked at the days to go and it said 11. And usually it's a 30-day campaign, but you run a shorter campaign.
I'm running a shorter campaign. I'm trying to just test out and experiment, with the waters, kind of see, if it's better or worse. My first campaign was only 21 days. I thought that was too long personally, but I'm going to try to see if, how I think this was like 13 or 14 days.
You get that long lull period in the middle where nobody's doing anything.
Yeah.
Short campaign. creates a sense of urgency. People look at it and say, oh, it's only got this many days to go. Better get in on it.
No lull,
I'd go 14 or 15 days myself, only because most people get paid every 2 weeks. And with a 15-day window, they're going to have a payday in there at some point. A few of them will have two. So
definitely will think of that.
Just for the people who, live paycheck to paycheck, which is most of us. A lot of us. Some of us, for me, most of my life, it was like, it's 2 days before payday. It's 1 day before payday. It's now 14 days before payday again. It never seemed to be actually payday itself. So I brought the screen up here. So tell us a little bit about genetic superiority. This is it's a 24-page floppy.
Yes.
Why are people going to be interested in this?
It's a sci-fi story in kind of the vein of Black Mirror, but it really takes into question, what's the next evolution of man going to look like? And because, a lot of people, there's so much emphasis on robots, but I was like, what else could there be? And there's, I think, so much more to it than, robots and, in the future and what we can kind of is capable through science. And so that kind of was, born into genetic superiority here in this story of people fighting for the future, really, and to try to determine, what the next face of humanity will look like. So yeah, that was kind of the idea there.
So you got basically three factions in your world here. You got the humans who remained human, the ones who went towards the animal side of the species, and the ones who went robotic. And I'm going to guess robotic means that they either went cyborg replacement parts or they uploaded their consciousness into machine parts.
Yep, it's a mix of both, because you have shades of, you have varying degrees of people who are willing to commit to different levels of experimentation, because it's not, nothing's perfect, but they're trying to get there, right? To try to achieve either maybe to become an animal, or to become like the best human, or to become the best robot. Which what does that look like, right? And so we do see varying shades of all of these factions for sure.
Now I thought the image we're looking at here, I thought for a little bit there that the green lady was one of the animal people, but as I watch it more closely, it looks like her leg and her elbow are pixelating, like she's falling apart as a part of a artificial intelligence or something. What am I seeing there?
Interesting. It's an interesting point, actually. But I will say for this first issue, the idea was she's a chameleon-like character, and her kind of like Mystique or something, she's able to blend in with her background and jump out. And
so that's the rest of her becoming visible then.
Yes, exactly.
That makes more sense.
But very astute, RJ, I will say.
Well, it's like she's like falling apart in puzzle pieces. And this looks like it's her again,
yes,
taking advantage of that chameleon. So it's not just her background, but she can sort of do the whole X-Men Mystique kind of thing.
Yes, absolutely. And what's interesting is that everybody here was born as human, in the entire story. So, and then through science and experimentation, they get to where they are now. So she absolutely, all of them remain human in some capacity, and some of them are trying to get rid of it. But, she in particular is being, as a dilemma, she's divided over which one she would prefer and which one she wants to become.
Okay. So this is not like, where some cataclysmic event happened on Earth and it caused some people to mutate in one direction and others another way. This is a choice that people are making.
Yes, through science, through scientific breakthroughs. And so actually, it's actually the opposite of what you're saying, RJ. So the story is that there is a coming apocalypse, and they don't know if they're going to survive. And to survive it, they think they need these evolutions.
But they've got advance notice, which is something we don't normally get in an apocalyptic story.
Yes, exactly. So that is definitely where we're heading.
Well, that answers the question I was going to ask you next, which was, what was the inducement for people to do this? It was like, hey, I've got the option now. Always felt like a cat. Maybe now I can,
So it is in a sense taking science to the next extreme, and I think there's always that in the back of everybody's head that what could next phase of science be, but for sure so I think it's a mix of that's always been a motivation for, even in today's society, but we also see it definitely this we call it a prophecy in this book, and in this book it really that's what starts like. People start thinking about this apocalypse that's happening, and then if it's going to come now, it's like game time that they need. It sets everything into motion where they're almost all of them have some of their capabilities, some of their advancements, but now they have to really take it to the next level. Now they have to start fighting for control and vying for power, and to see who's the superior faction, because there is this thing that's coming.
Okay, that's interesting that it's based on a prophecy, because this is scientific changes to ward off a prophecy. Usually the two don't mix all that well. The people who can make scientific advancements, prophecy, show me the proof. Bring me Bigfoot's droppings and I'll believe,
Definitely an oxymoron.
Exactly. I mean, come on, we've got some 2,000-year-old prophecies that we keep publishing and selling in bookstores, and scientists around here haven't done a whole lot to help us survive whatever that's going to be, right?
Yes.
But I'm guessing that, somebody's seen something that's like, that's that thing we kept reading about. It's actually happening. We need to prepare now.
Yes.
So this piece of artwork here that I'm still sitting on, by the way, this is the cover. You have a limited edition cover for this.
Yes, that is the variant cover. There's two covers, technically three. There's one in black and white, but there's the main cover, and then you have the variant cover, and then you have the black and white main cover.
All right. I'm trying to see if what the order of pictures is here. We'll get to the cover in just a little bit. So this is the preview artwork inside here. This is Earth. This is the future.
Yes.
And I was kind of surprised that, future Earth looks a lot like medieval Japan.
So we started this story here in a setting that people are comfortable with, right? And they are here. What we're here is called Eden, and this is the purists, home faction, home base, so to speak. So they believe in this type of, very like feudalism, back to basics, back to roots. You see people with diets, they want to go back to what the caveman diets were. This is kind of what these people are. Like in the future, they think the best way to survive this coming apocalypse is to go backwards, back to the very beginning, to the roots, very much like we see cabins, we see big gates, we kind of see, things like that. And yeah, it is very simplistic. It's like, rural, like very farm-like stuff like that,
It kind of reminds me of the M. Night Shyamalan movie, The Village, where they tried to live like it was 100 years ago and believed that it was 100 years ago.
Yes.
But then, of course, you get the twist as he's leaving the village, and suddenly there's like, there's a whole lot more modernity here, and it's, it's a mess. You got overturned cars and graffiti and such, and that's suddenly you're not in medieval Japan anymore. And it looks like he spears a poor squirrel.
Yes, he does, because he is still in his hunting, kind of very like hunter-gatherer phase, very, very rooted down into that. And yeah, he's just trying to he's now entering this wasteland for the first time. He's always been protected behind those gates. Now he's kind of venturing out into the wild, tasked with trying to see what else is out there.
But he's been trained to survive.
Yes.
So even in the wilderness, you're going to see these automobile husks, bits of pollution hanging around. I like that he's yes, I'm out here to solve this prophecy and survive, but hey, swimming hole. Whee!
Yes.
Just take some time, some fun.
But then it turns not so fun.
Now there's no dialogue on any of these pages. Is there going to be dialogue, or are these just simply unlettered?
Those are unlettered preview pages. I found Kickstarter blurs it too much, so I just took it all out, and then but it will all be lettered to some extent. Yeah, all these pages.
All right. He is not escaping that bear until he finds a well-placed rock. And if you hit a bear in the head with a rock, all you do is make it angry.
Yes, that's why he needed his a good old trusty sword there to kind of help take care of the bear. I
think he's going to be okay there. Clyde, glad you're here, man. Appreciate you being here. It's an interesting dystopia. I like dystopias that you have a chance of getting out of, not the ones that you just have to accept and then survive. Shadowhawk backs, yes, hail. We did have a great time at our auction last night. Comic books for kids. We raised, we officially raised $275. I will let you know that by way of some of our creators donating their shipping money that you paid, that also went to CB4K. So we're at $295 right now. Almost $300 was raised last night. Is this your first Kickstarter backing? Well, did you just back it now?
No. He backed Lost Magic, and that was his first. But
okay.
That was the previous one last. But maybe he'll back this one. I don't know.
Well, if you do, let us know. It'll be our shake and bake moment for the night. Kickstarters are difficult for me to monitor when we do them because they update in the background their prices. Like with an Indiegogo, I'm like, let's refresh the page, and we get a little bit of tension going on there, and then we see if the number changes. Kickstarter, I have to it scrolled. Somebody backed. So you got a timeline here. This book is complete. Love to hear that.
Yes, it is.
And you mentioned a little bit earlier that you're going for a 1-a-month schedule.
Yes.
So is that with this title or with different books in your publishing line?
Wait, say that again.
Is next month going to be Genetic Superiority #2, or is it going to be one of the other
new title actually? And then we're going to go back. The hope is that in April we'll go back to Lost Magic Season 2. I'm very excited to get back to that one. But
okay.
Yeah, it really just is going to depend on when the books are completed, when I feel it's right to launch. But definitely 1 a month, trying to push it out there.
So you're building a whole base here, Arman Comics.
That's right, RJ. Trying to for sure.
It's bigger thinking than people say. I've always wanted to make a comic, and now I can because of Kickstarter. Now what? Now I made one. What do I do? Guys like you're like, I don't want to make a comic. I want to build an industry. I want to be an empire. This picture here I love. This is an art print. This is not the basic cover, I guess.
Yes, that's the art print that you get with the I guess any copy in the $20.
Oh, so it's going to come with any physical copy. You'll get this art print.
Well, yeah, the way the tiers are, you get with every tier that's higher than
Okay, I just love this. It's all 3 parts, composite face. Bryant did a great job on that. There we go. There's the main cover.
Yes, that is the main cover.
Okay, so we've seen that image, but this fight looks like, this character looks like he's been knocked down for a while already. He's kind of rusted up. He's got plants growing through his eye socket.
Yeah, he definitely lost that battle, Yeah. But there's much more. You win a battle, but there's a whole war, right? Shadowhawk's asking the tough questions. As of right now, Shadowhawk, I'm considering it heavily, but I think I'm going to be on Pops on Friday. But besides that, I haven't really plunged into there yet. Right now, Kickstarter, but hopefully we can. I can get on Indiegogo.
It's leaving money on the table, man. That slows you down some because now you got another campaign to go through. But
yes.
you can make it like a short term and just throw it right into in demand, and now Indiegogo becomes your online store. You just kind of fulfill out of that. Kickstarter, maybe one day we'll get around to doing that. Right now, when you're done, and you can't sell anymore.
Yes.
Indiegogo, I think, was a little bit more forward thinking with that. So if they know that there's a prophecy coming, and they're going their different ways to survive it. What's the conflict between the three factions here? Because it's like, oh, you're going to survive it that way? Okay, well, I'm going to survive it this way. And that guy over there, he's just going to stay normal and, live in the woods. Why are they fighting?
So they're fighting over the prophecy because they actually, all three of them. So there was, in the founding of this, nation, or where we're at this wasteland, there were three different visionaries, who kind of split and, kind of went, in three separate branches to kind of create their own, cities or societies here, that we're seeing here, these cults or factions. But when they were together, they had kind of this prophecy that was kind of prophesized for this apocalypse. They kind of each had a piece of it. So with three pieces, each all separated. Now, our main character has to go and retrieve the other two pieces of the prophecy. And these are things that are like coveted and like almost holy like. So then now it's like, because they think, each of them thinks now that for them to survive the prophecy, the apocalypse, they need to really obtain the other pieces of the prophecy. They have to understand what it means and try to decipher it. And I think they have to kind of really analyze that. And it starts when, they had it all, when they're together, they all thought it meant something different. They branched out, so much time spread. And now they have to come back and try to, kind of gather the other pieces of the prophecy so they can kind of be the next surviving race.
So this kind of reminds me of the old, I want to say it's an Aesop's fable, but it's definitely an old folk tale about the three blind men and the elephant. They'd never seen one, so they're feeling it. And one grabs the tail and says, "Oh, an elephant's very much like a rope." And the other one, is pressing on the side. No, an elephant's very much like a wall. And they've got these three, and they're like, look, the prophecy clearly says we must become animals. No, it says we must become machines. If you get it all together, it's like, no, you must be human who get into an animal-shaped machine and leave the planet.
It's definitely kind of like that. Exactly, RJ.
Okay, so it's so they've truly developed religions around their one particular understanding of an aspect of something.
Yes.
Kind of like a Canticle for Leibowitz. That's an old science fiction book for all you folks out there that you got to force yourself to read it. It's just one of those. So the risks and challenge. Yes, there could be a zombie outbreak or an alien invasion.
Definitely.
I like that you took the time to fill that out and just to see who would read it.
Because in my opinion, those are the risks. There's really no risk. I already completed my first campaign. 2-week turnaround time. I hope Shadowhawk should have his book under this week, hopefully. But it's one of those things where I'm pretty confident now. And if you want to know the real risks that I see, it's one of those.
Paper shortage. we could have another one of those. So let's take a look at the different tiers you got here. Yes, you can throw money for no reason. Does anybody? No, people do that. I fulfill these things.
People do it. It's usually like the lower tiers, or sometimes it's friends or family who just don't. I don't know. They just throw money.
Yeah. So here's some money. I don't want the book, but you can get the digital copy for $5. Yes. I know we have a lot of people who watch the show who have to have digital. They just don't have any more space in their house for comics, or they're in a place where they can't keep any comics. They're working remotely. So $5, there you go. Good to go. $10 or more, the first evolution. That's leading. That makes me think that you've got, next steps planned for some of these paths. But you will get the physical main copy. It will be signed, and it will. You'll also get the digital copy. Okay, so I'm going to ask this because fulfilling these things. I've had 2 campaigns now, twice that I've worked on fulfillment on. As you set your items up, do you have physical copy as a SKU and physical copy signed as a separate SKU? I ask that because I can see signed is a SKU of its own here, the way that these things get set up when you added items.
Yes. So you asked me, I think that answered the question. I don't know. What would it be?
Well, can you get the book not signed?
You cannot get the book not signed.
Okay.
You can, I mean, the thing is, we would have sent it on a survey, and if you don't want it signed, you can just, I'll say like there'll be an option, like a multiple choice. Yes on the front cover, yes on the back cover. No, don't sign it.
Okay.
That's what I did with Lost Magic.
A lot of I've seen campaigns now. Like I said, I've done two of them where the book is in there, and if you get it in one tier, you get it unsigned. For a little bit more in the next tier, you get it signed, but there's no differentiation when you're looking at just the item list that this is a signed book and this is not a signed book. And it can slow down your fulfillment when you start getting confused. Like, wait, where did this one? Whereas if, like, here's a stack of signed books, give me one of those.
Yeah.
Just word to the wise for the people who are going to fulfill their own stuff, or pass it along to somebody else who's going to fulfill it and won't understand it. Hero of Eden. Okay, so this is where the art print comes in that we saw.
Yes.
For $15, you get the signed physical copy of the digital and that art print. Let me bring that back up here. Wait, was this it? Yes.
Yep, that's the art print.
All right. How big is the art print? It doesn't. Does it say anywhere?
Yeah, I believe it's 5 by 5.5 inches by 8.5 inches.
Okay, so a little bit smaller than the comic itself.
Yes.
Okay, like an 8 by 10 easily enough.
My favorite thing to do with these is just stick them in the floppy, inside the front cover.
Yeah. Sometimes I stick them in the back, so I've got like double-sided. I've got a whole wall of prints and comics and stuff now that I've run out of space. I've got no more wall space. Well, technically I do, but I don't know if I'll use it. I'll think about it. Depends on if I get something that I think's worth putting up there. But for $15 for the print and the book and the digital, that's a great deal. Compared to the crowdfunding.
Yes.
And then we get the jump for. Okay, now let me make sure this is right, because it's a digital copy with the main cover, the variant cover, and the black and white cover. So you have 3 digital copies?
Yes.
Okay, that's unusual.
It honestly should have just been one digital special, but the way we kind of had everything set up, and we just did it this way. But yeah, people can kind of get 3 copies of the book digitally.
Okay.
Includes all the materials, really.
Yeah, and it's all digital. So is the art print then digital as well, or are you going to mail out the art print?
Art print's digital.
Okay.
Digital, everything.
So you basically it's a wallpaper then at that point.
Yes.
Moving back into the physical, you get the Animalist. You get the physical copy with the variant cover. So the variant cover, let me show that back again up here.
Yep, that's the version variant.
Yeah, I expect you'd be selling the heck out of these because comic book buyers, female on the cover, and painted. So
Yes, this was one of those that I was very happy to and ecstatic to get this variant cover.
Okay, now this says on the text here that it's limited to 101, and then over here it's limited to 25. Guessing that it's part of other packages down here. It all it's up to 101.
Yep, as we go up and up.
Okay.
It's the only way you can get these.
Because there's got to be other ones. Because I'm looking at them like, why has nobody bid on this one at all? That's a beautiful painted cover. You would think that somebody would get it just to hang on their wall, if for nothing else.
So I'm hoping for. We're also definitely we're hoping to if there's a lot of traction behind it. We want to get it into an art print form, like a very high quality art print, and definitely in a bigger size, maybe 11 by 17 or something like that. Because I think
that would do well.
It is very. I was very happy with how this turned out. With the artist is amazing.
So that was the $25 one. The $30 one, people have jumped in on that one. They get the same book, and they get the art print with it. So
yes,
it's $5 more for the art print. That's what you're looking at, folks.
Yes, exactly.
And then I like the campaign's simplicity. It's the book and the print, or the other book and the print. That's it. So you don't have T-shirts. You don't have action figures. So all the tiers basically going forward are: do you want more than one? You want one of each? You want 2 of each?
Yes, basically yes. And then the very last one there is the chosen one You get to be in the book as a character. You get to be yourself as one of these factions, one of the three factions, and yeah, so we're gonna try to include one of these for each of the campaigns going forward, hopefully, except for the last one, obviously. But if you want to be in this book as one of the factions, we'll work with you, and you will appear in the book. You can be a side character, or we'll work you in a little bit more, and to have an awesome part, and really just have yourself, kind of choose your favorite faction here.
Yeah, so you can, say, hey, here's a picture of me, and I like skunks.
Yes.
You almost got to feel like Dr. Moreau a little bit when you're putting together these human creature people, because for the purest of humans, it's like, what kind of human you gonna be? The one I am. This is it. This is me.
Yeah.
But
yeah, some people just want their pure selves, RJ. We got to give them what they want.
Yeah, this is it. But when you're gonna be an animal, so many to pick from. There's so many different kinds, and I would guess that some may be easier than others. Is like, hey, the chimpanzees are only 3% away from our DNA. The gecko is a lot further out. You're gonna have a lot more work to do, and I'm just gonna go out on a limb here and say it's once you've committed, it's irreversible.
You mean when you choose this in the story, you're irreversible? Yes. You wouldn't. It depends on the arc. We haven't decided yet, but yeah, you could have a longer role. You could have just a cool short role. But for sure, whatever you choose, there's no going back. In the story,
there's no going back.
You can't switch unless you're a purist that decides to who's like in a scandalous affair decides to jump sides. Maybe you jump that wall. But generally speaking, you're basically set in your ways. When you choose.
Once the experiment's begun, it can't be taken out. But can you go forward in other directions? Say that you've become bear man, and you're like, yes, I have attributes of bear, but I'd really like to be able to sniff out truffles. Can you give me some attributes of pig now, and then just add even more?
Oh yes, yeah, absolutely. So in one thing, you definitely can. If you want to be more of an animal, you want different traits of animals to combine into one, definitely. And that's where trying to achieve this genetic superiority is going to come into play. The scientific breakthrough. Like, what does that mean? Like, what does it mean to be genetic superior? Like, what do you want? Like, what the smelling of a pig versus and you to throw all these things together? And at that point, how are you any different than Cyborg? Who just creating new parts for yourself in any given chance. And
exactly, you're much more of a chimera than like any one animal / person.
Yes.
And yes, I did just create a man bear pig there for those who are into that kind of thing. So that will be interesting to see that, especially if it's like not something that's being done at the beginning of the story. Like, if you have your one animal, one hybrid with a person, and then you start seeing, oh, wait, 2 animals, 3 animals. But you're the writer. You tell the story your way. I just,
as a fan, RJ, I'm got to give the fans what they want. So I'm definitely listening.
Well, I just, when I get these concepts thrown at me by the creators come on the show, I'm like, boy, if I got to play in that sandbox, this is what I would do.
You can be in the sandbox if you choose the chosen one. If you're the chosen one, you definitely can.
Well, yeah, but that's being in it. That's not the same thing to me as like, here, give me the typewriter for a while.
Yeah.
Oh boy, did I show my age. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had a typewriter. I've had the Royal Selectric. Used it and wrote with it. So how long of this is way more story than you can tell in 24 pages.
Yes.
You can barely get started with something like this in 24 pages because this has got a lot of scope built into it.
Yes, and it almost reminds me, even as we're looking through the pages, it kind of reminds me of The Walking Dead, where it does start. It has to start somewhere because it's such a big world. But you take it slowly but surely, and we do meet, in this first one, at least at least two of the factions in this first book, and we are gonna meet the rest. Or the third one really, within each of these factions there's sub factions, and of course, we talked about there's varying shades of each of these. So we're going to see more and more of what this world kind of becomes, and piece by piece, as this purist goes on this journey. The main character is a purist. We're going to kind of see through his eyes as well, for the first time, and it's going to be, right now it's 5 planned issues to kind of wrap up this story. And it does definitely have an ending, and we started from the ending and worked our way backwards for this one. And then so 5 planned issues, almost about 120 pages or whatever that comes out to be. But yeah.
Okay, because I could see 120 issues with this story. I mean, this is
I
this is
would
very
love
much
that.
by the
I
last
love that,
man.
RJ.
But if you're going to wrap it up in 5 issues, this is a rapidly approaching apocalypse.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna say too much about it, but there's lots that go to play into this prophecy and this apocalypse, and absolutely about this the time frame. It definitely can go longer. I mean, we played with the idea of spin-offs and what is the future past this, but let's get there first, RJ. Let's get the number 2 first. Honestly, let's get this funded, number 1, and then we can worry about number 2.
Yeah, just under $700 to go, 11 days. Any concerns about that at all? I mean, you did give yourself a short window to raise the money in, so.
Yes, I was pretty confident in it. I'm after my first one where I wasn't confident at all. I don't know if you remember, RJ. I was super unconfident that would even get funded or even see the light of day. But then it caught fire at the end. Actually, It got funded. And then, we got overfunded almost, but however much it was, 30% over. And so I was very happy to kind of see that, and it kind of gave me confidence that I can kind of launch this now, that I had backers back on day one from the previous campaign. And 500 on the first day, was great. Again, broke the record of the last one. I'm kind of excited to see where it goes. I'm pretty confident. I even lowered the funding goal. Actually, I think Lost Magic raised 2,200, and I lowered the funding goal from 1,500 to 1,200.
You don't want to lower it too much. You need the money to make the book.
Yes. I was trying to lower it even more to we were deciding between 500 and 1,000, but then we're like, well, we actually can't deliver this without $1,200, physically, printing and shipping wise. We couldn't do it, so we definitely need at least that, and then anything more kind of goes towards the production cost and the art and the cover arts and stuff like that.
All right, so art's all done. Lettering is now, we didn't see lettering on here, but the lettering is done as well. I mean, you have
lettering is done. The entire book, it's honestly already at the printer, RJ. We're just waiting to, they have the files actually, and we were in contact with, I think it was on the bottom page, Comics Wellspring, and so I think you actually told us about Comics Wellspring back in the day.
I was going to ask where you were going because there's so many different places now.
Yes, I'm actually jumping around between a bunch of them. I was, maybe we'll talk about that a little off, but there's definitely so many options, and I was, and I'm looking at a lot of them, and I reached out, and I decided just to go with this because they had the quickest turnaround. They had a discount going on right now, and I was like, I just want to see how they, a lot of good reviews from other people, other creators on Kickstarter.
Yeah.
So
the first printer to have an overstock of paper is going to be king, because how did we get a paper shortage? Come on.
I agree. I don't know what this is. I don't know what's
the trees did not catch COVID.
I was trying to read more into it, and they said it was because people don't even read anymore, so they stopped making paper, and then they don't think it's important to keep making it. Apparently, this is even before COVID. They were trying to go, and I was like, "What is happening?" I was like, "This is too much for me."
No, they've still got to cut down trees. They still got to make paper, because I don't care if everybody's reading digital books. We still got to wipe our butts.
I agree. I mean, and I think I think there's, I mean, I don't know how much paper use, I feel like paper's used everywhere still. I still get so much mail, like junk mail. Like, I don't know, where are they printing this on? Like, just so much mail, like physical mail still being delivered almost like nonsense. So
I've been in the IT industry for 35 years, back in the earlier days of it, when they were like, we're going to a paperless society, and all the changes I ever saw in my paperwork was that it started to have little holes down the side of it on each side for the longest time, and you couldn't deliver, so you had to rip those off. So you just had all this like ticker tape stuff laying around the desk.
Yeah,
that you had to recycle. So yeah, I hadn't heard that the reason for the paper shortage was because people weren't reading. That sounds more like they're trying to force digital, and I can't imagine why the printers would be trying to force digital.
Well, against the supply. It's not the printers are trying to get the paper. They just, there's just no paper to get, right? And
yeah,
I've definitely been in contact with a lot of them over this, and that's sentiment is they don't know why either. It's confusing time for everybody.
Well, and the paper industry, the timber industry and the paper industry, by and large, this is going to get political real fast here. But they survive a lot on subsidies, government subsidies. And if the government says, hey, we don't want there to be so much paper, they don't pay as much, and then you can't pay your people as much, so you produce less paper. That's
a great point. Yeah,
I'm theorizing. I have no proof of that whatsoever, folks. So don't send the black helicopters over here just because I said that, guys. All right, so what's next after this? I mean, if this is done, you're working on something else while this is
always working on something else, RJ. But yeah, I'm trying, and I really learned about this after the first campaign last month for Lost Magic. You have to be ahead, and trying to launch this one. It was like mid-month. I think it just launched again a few days ago. It was actually the end of the month. But I'm trying to get on a good schedule here, and to do that, you have to be well in advance, far ahead, and plan it out. Because the first campaign I just launched, on a whim almost, and then I kind of was trying to play catch up the entire campaign, and then it got funded, and then I really needed to play catch to get it out.
Oh shit, this is gonna work.
Yeah, and then I had to get it printed, I had to get it mailed out, fulfill it, and then after that launch this one, and then now I'm like getting to a good rhythm and learning every step of the way. So I'll be back next month. I mean, let's get this funded first, you know what I'm saying, like and then we'll be back next month and the month after that. So
the crowdfunding is intended to raise the money to help you start your business and keep going. And a lot of people are like, what, my business is a different book every month. I'm not saying this is yours, but it's like my business this month is Genetic Superiority #1. That's my business. And then I'll be out of business after that, and I'll start a new business a couple months later called Genetic Superiority #2. As opposed to, here's our book. Wow, we raised enough that I don't have to crowdfund the rest of it. We're going to, snowball it down the hill. Seeing as how that doesn't happen for most people, they just use this, and Kickstarter is quite happy to allow people to continue doing that. But what they don't let you do is have more than one at a time. So if you're wanting to have this flatter hierarchy of books where you got like multiple parallel titles, what is your long-term plan to be able to say, hey, we're going to produce 5 titles, we're going to produce 10 titles, but if you're limited to one a month, you're like, yeah, here's #1. You won't get that one again for another 10 months because we got to get all the other books going.
So that's definitely a long-term game plan. Right now, there's in circulation. One of them are like, some of them are one shots. Some of them are like 1 or 2 parts. It depends. I am pushing. What you'll see most of is going to be in this year. Certainly, I see Lost Magic. You'll see a lot of Lost Magic. Hopefully you'll see a lot of Genetic Superiority, and we're going to try to wrap these titles up first before moving on to the next ones. But yes, sometimes you might see a new #1 tossed in there when Lost Magic 3 or Genetic Superiority 3 is out. But long term, it's tough to tell. It's really just going on what I feel is right at any moment. There's no real. There is a set plan, but there's no real set plan. It's like just a loose roadmap.
And that's where I guess something like Indiegogo can help, not on its own, but in conjunction with Kickstarter. Like, hey, I'm doing Kickstarter, it's done. I'm moving it over to Indiegogo, I'm doing another Kickstarter, and now you've got the cycling through of things. You can actually have two different ones at the same time.
And you brought up a great point that if any of them overfund and then we can do 2 issues, then that's even better. You know what I'm saying, RJ? Then I'm definitely open to doing that. I know a lot of people don't do that, but personally for me, like that, I mean, none of them are overfunded yet, but we're trying to get there, and we're trying to get let's get to this goal, and then for sure, if the big difference between for Lost Magic was I think 2,000 and 3,000. The difference was going to be staggering in terms of what I could have done with that small amount of money. Like, it seems small, but it's actually a lot, and I could have done so much with that. But we only hit the 2,000, so it's so for sure that's always in the back of my mind of how to bring the most value to the backers and how to elongate and take the funds and do the most with it.
Somebody's going to do it one day. They're going to, well, never mind. I think Iconic Comics already has done it. They crowdfund, but then they have their own business now that's spun out of it. The whole Common America, that whole, them guys, they've done well, and they're they've set a model to follow. Arman, is there anything else about genetic superiority that you want people to know about before we wrap things up here?
No, I hope you guys enjoy it. I think it's something that's the story is it's very high concept, and that was like the real picture, and it's almost a sense of you say this sense of urgency, but it's like this almost like this ticking this ticking time bomb thing that's this prophecy is going to happen, this apocalypse is coming, and it's always in the background of this all these characters' minds, and in the story. And I think it all makes it that much greater. So it's definitely one of those things that I think people are going to like if you give it a chance, and it's one of those sci-fis that really take a grounded approach, and to just kind of see where the science takes us.
All right, where are people going to find you at for the next 11 days here? You got shows lined up?
Absolutely. I do have I pops on Friday. I have Global Frequency Studios with Aaron Neff on Tuesday of next week, and I'll be around, but for sure I think those are some ones I'm excited about to kind of see how they like Lost Magic, and because people are getting their books at the same time as I'm launching this, so it's going to be a fun one.
Clyde says it's a great idea for a graphic novel. I'm just going to guess that once you're done with the 5 issues, you are going to make the compendium.
Yes, absolutely. And that it was originally envisioned as a graphic novel. So because for me, I think long term, RJ. I think big picture, and I definitely this was supposed to be. This was supposed to start off as like a 100-page graphic novel actually, and then we kind of stretched it out to 120, 125 pages. And then we're like, well, we kind of need, to break it down, build an audience, let's release it in issues and through Kickstarter. So that was kind of the game plan. The game plan keeps changing, but definitely, it is all one story in a graphic novel, and it absolutely will come out. Hopefully maybe this year, but maybe early next year. We'll kind of see what the timetable.
All right, fantastic. Arman, thank you so much for bringing Genetic Superiority onto the show tonight. Always a pleasure to talk with you about the ideas you've got kicking around in your head. You've got some very, you've got stuff going on in there that I can't say, oh yeah, that's exactly like this. It's all very original.
Thank you, RJ. I appreciate that. I'm trying to bring that to the indie comic scene, and you're one of the people who are really nice and receptive and welcoming about it. Some people don't take me seriously, RJ, but I think you're definitely you've been very kind.
I take it very seriously. This is an art form, and it's not just that it needs to be brought to indie comics. It needs to be brought back to comics. Period. We need originality in comics. We've kind of lost that.
Yes. Yes.
With that, folks in the chat, if you are watching on the replay, the link to the Kickstarter is right below the video. Please do click on it. It's a limited time Kickstarter. It's only 11 days, and they just kicked off yesterday. So this is not don't think you can come back next month and do this. You can't. It's done.
Yes.
Be sure to click on it, throw money at it. If you were watching right now, we've also pinned it to the top of the chat, so you'll be able to find it there. You can't miss it. It's there. Everybody, thank you for coming tonight. We don't have a show unless you're here to watch it. And as always, while you were here, we just hope you had a blast. Good night.